It's not just about empowering women, it's also about enlightening men as to what women can do. Highly competitive people and those who have achieved some success aren't in love with the glamour, they're in love with the grind.
How much sleep do you get?
Probably about 4 hours.
What?
Yeah.
Okay. So you just said it like it's normal.
That's
so
not,
you know.
that's not.
Well, for you and I it is.
Okay.
Mega achievers, the people I have on my show, it's like they take for granted how kind of psycho they are. Is something a woman thinks about in business? Like you walk in a room, you're like, hey, because I'm a woman or because I'm also a minority woman.
Oh yeah. Every room, know your effect on a room. The reality is that we do, and until we get to the point where we don't, then I can just think of it as just a business person.
Yeah.
Until then, I do have to think of it as a businesswoman, as an African-American businesswoman, as sometimes the youngest in the room.
Welcome back to Max Out, everybody. I'm Ed Mylett. I am super pumped about today's interview because I have a very unique and special woman sitting here with me today.
Yeah.
This lady, by the way, she's funny too, which is why this is going to be good. But this lady is the president and chief operating officer of the Wnba's LA Sparks.
Yes.
And her name is Christine Simmons. So thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me. This is exciting.
It's already been good off camera.
I know.
So obviously you're an executive of one of the biggest sports franchises in the world. That's a pretty unbelievable achievement you've had in your life. And we're going to get to that part, but I want to go back a little bit.
Sure.
So, because I want people to have the background, I started the show and I want to feature prominent people that are maxing out, obviously, different areas of their life. Yeah. And in your case, obviously, all of your achievements are impressive.
Thank you.
But also, those of you that aren't watching this but listening to the audio, you're an African-American woman too.
Yes.
And that brings with it a set of dynamics that I want to discuss today too.
I love that, yeah.
And so, but let's go back a little bit because you've always been an African-American woman or girl. So that part's been permanent, right?
Yeah.
But if we go back, you grew up, are you the first person to graduate college in your family?
I am the first to graduate. One of my sisters did begin college, but and the craziest part about it is that my mom is a skinny white girl from Oregon. My dad is a black man from Pensacola, Florida. In fact, he ex-Marine and ex-Pomona PD. We were talking about 909, right? And Empire.
Yeah.
So he pulls my mom over to get her number. That's how I got here today.
You gotta be kidding me.
No, dead serious, dead serious.
Are you kidding me? Really? Well, okay.
True story,
right.
True story.
Okay.
I don't know, that might get him in trouble. But no, nonetheless, he was a very honorable cop.
I'm sure.
But my mom's first husband was Mexican, so I have 3 older half-sisters that are white and Mexican.
Oh my goodness.
Then my mom married my dad, then they divorced when I was 7, so she raised 4 of us on her own. Wow. And then
when you say on your own, can I ask you, so your dad was gone altogether, or was he still in your life?
He was here and there, you know, and we didn't have a very close relationship as I grew up, so really it was just on mom with these 4 crazy chicks that she was trying to raise. Wow. My dad and I have since reconnected, and it's been amazing, and I'm so grateful to have him back in my life. Once I got to college, we kind of reconnected again. But so talk about United Colors of Benetton, like it is my family. Like we don't know if we're doing tamales or gumbo at Christmas, you know?
That is unbelievable. So your mom's a pretty big figure in your life.
She is everything. She's everything. You know, it's those people that you just watch them work, and they don't have to teach you what discipline is or what work ethic is, and like my mom, we never sat down and talked about working hard. You know, she raised 4 very strong women, and so she's everything.
So she was your model in that sense from the work standpoint.
Yeah, hands down.
We're talking off camera about how intense you are. And by the way, you have a 7-year-old son.
I do, Christian.
Yes. And we're talking about how intense you are sometimes with your sports. I'm just curious how personalities are made up, because to become as successful as you become, you have exemplary traits about you, which we're going to talk about some of them today. But you're pretty intense.
I mean, you were an athlete, right?
Yes.
So, and you went farther in your athletic career than I did. I was a 3-letter athlete in high school. So volleyball, basketball, and track. And I think that anytime you are in athletics, then that gives you an intensity. It's a drive. It's an internal competition. Like, I don't even care what you're doing. I need to be better for me, right? And so for my intensity with my son, and again, I mentioned I'm on the board of Positive Coaching Alliance, so we're all about making sure that they have great experiences. And so I knew that I needed to kind of take myself out. I want to make sure he had a really great experience. He has coaches to coach him. So I let them do that. But I want him to be his best him.
Yeah.
Right? I want him to max out, right?
Yeah, of course. I know.
You know, as you talk about like reinvention, right? So I was an athlete. I had 2 knee surgeries in high school.
In high school?
In high school, ACL and MCL. So blew my knees out. So I was being scouted for volleyball. That didn't work out. My grades were decent enough to get me in. So I did go to UCLA. So I was pre-med there.
I know. So this whole thing.
I know.
This is important though, because there's a lot of people listening to this that at one point in time were chasing one dream or one path in their life, and then new paths have revealed themselves. So you go in there pre-med. Tell me about that.
I go in pre-med, and then there was this like thing where I thought I was going to model for a hot second. Like I even did that. That wasn't working out. They were like, they wanted me to be so skinny. I was like, no, I like to eat too much. It didn't work out, and so that wasn't for me. So pre-med, I wanted to help people, but when we talk about like exposure and I didn't have a lot of exposure to what the possibilities were. So I knew doctor, lawyer. Right?
Yep.
I knew at that time, I remember I had this figure in my head. If you're a doctor, you'll make $100,000 and you'll be wealthy and you're good to go. And there's a path to get there. Right? And I was like, done. And I get to help people? Cool. All in.
Right.
So in my undergraduate career at UCLA, I found myself helping people a bit too much. So I was in the community. I was mentoring. I was tutoring. I was doing hypertension screenings on Crenshaw Boulevard. I was leading all of these student organizations. I was protesting and shutting down Wilshire and Westwood around propositions at the time. And I always joke that had I maybe been studying a little bit more, I might be Dr. Simmons today instead of so much organizing, because I didn't get into medical school.
Got it. This is great to hear.
I failed quote unquote.
Thank you for being so honest about that. So,
and it took a while for me to be able to say that publicly. Like I'd be like, oh, I changed paths. You didn't get in, Jake. Like, come on, let's be real. You didn't get in.
That is, I did not know that, and all the research is done on you too. So that's awesome that you're willing to share that. So all of this monster success comes out of you not essentially getting good enough grades to get into medical school.
But at the time, I was also working at UCLA after I graduated, and it's in a building that happens to have a basketball court in it. It's back in the day we called it the men's gym. They changed the name now. I'm old, but the guys, the NBA guys, would come in the off season and play pickup ball. Well, one of those guys happened to be Irvin Magic Johnson. And so at the time, he had all of his clinics across the country, focusing on HIV and AIDS. And so I said, okay, go talk to him. You want to start clinics? Here's Magic. Go talk to him. So I got the balls up to do it, and I went up and I said hello and I introduced myself. I told him what I wanted to do, and we ended up. He let me pick his brain, and
it's a life-altering decision you made there.
It's kind of how I'm here now. Like,
my goodness,
literally, that one decision, that one piece.
That's the whole thing, isn't it? Like in your life, there's these moments. And you get a handful of them, I think, in your life.
Agreed. There's not just one. You get a handful.
You get a handful, and you better make your move when you have that opportunity.
Exactly.
The whole direction of the trajectory of your entire life is altered by that decision to walk over there, and that had to be pretty damn scary too.
It was so scary. Imagine, like, I'm walking through. There's all these dudes. Like, you half of it, you know what it's gonna be.
Right,
you're like, oh, here we go. But I was like, deal with it. Let's go. You want this? Let's go. Like, you're gonna have to do it. It was scary.
So this starts sort of just an ongoing relationship that you maintained over time.
Exactly.
You've always, though, I'm just listening to your story, and I got a really weird question, but I had no idea I was going to ask you. But I want to. You've always been kind of a leader, though. It sounds like to me. Like if you're organizing protests, you're taking it. So you're a leader.
I am. It's my default. It's what I go to. It's if I see a problem, I need to fix it. I can't just sit there and watch it not be fixed. And then the more you do that, as I'm sure you know, then they tag you to do more, and then you keep doing more, and so
This is the question I didn't know I was going to ask you, but I'm just listening to you, so I have to ask you this. You ever, do you think, in your life get into politics?
No.
Never?
No.
Wouldn't be something you do?
No.
So because you're cause-oriented, you're a leader, you're an unbelievable communicator, you got a total background. Now, it's something you don't think you would ever do?
No, I love, I like the power, not the fame. And the power allows you to make the impact. And I think we separate so much with like nonprofits, politics, and business. And we don't have to do that anymore,
true.
right? You can make a ridiculous impact without having to be in politics.
Mm-hmm.
Your business can make a ridiculous social impact without having to be a 501c3. The way I've led the Sparks is as more of a social entrepreneurship. We can't compete. I can't compete against the Lakers. I can't compete against the Clippers. So I'm like, well, I need to stop trying to go after sports marketing dollars. Let's talk about diversity and inclusion. Let's talk about employee retention, right? And experiences for employees. Let's talk about women's empowerment. Let me be your partner in the community because we have such a great presence in the community. We're doing financial literacy programs for hundreds of kids alone with our partner EquiTrust.
Are you really?
Yeah, and it has nothing to do with basketball.
Yeah,
right.
That's brilliant.
But we're partners in the community because we have been there for so long, and especially in this time of the woman that everybody's talking about, which is fantastic that women are finding their voices. But a lot of entities are like, well, how do we do it? We've been doing it for 22, 23 years now. Right? So now we can give you a more authentic and organic way to engage women, and that's meaningful, and it's not just about basketball on the court.
How come you don't think, maybe they haven't, I don't know it, but that has seemed to me to be a little bit, sports are usually copycat.
Yeah.
Right? So, the Warriors, for example, go small ball. Now everybody tried to go small ball, right? And the big leagues, if you got, guys that can throw 100 miles an hour in the bullpen, everyone's going to have a few of those people. Yeah. Am I wrong that the spark, and I don't mean this critically of the league at all, but why isn't every team expanding their brand like that in the league?
They're trying. They are. I think, we don't quite have the budget, so people don't quite know of the work that's being done, but more and more at the team level, it's community first. And we're finally, the league, and I think it's a little rooted in traditionalism, right? Because, sports is hardcore tradition. Yeah. And there are your basketball traditionalists. It's like, it's be about the basketball. It's only about the basketball because these are ridiculously talented athletes, right? And I think you can do both. I think you can win championships.
Look at this ring.
Hello.
Everybody watching the YouTube, are you flipping kidding me? You guys, I wore that ring earlier. This league is legit. I told you, sometimes the championship rings in women's sports, they go with the little, that is like, we want a damn championship, right? Like, there's no doubt what that is. That's why I love that.
And I very deliberately put it on a certain finger.
Do you ever do, like, if you're on an airplane, you like scratch the back of your head, you're like,
but like all the haters out there, I'm like, have you seen my ring? I'm sorry.
It's awesome.
Little irreverent.
Winning is awesome.
I'm waiting for the second one so I can put it on this finger. So anyway, I digress.
Yeah, that thing is so heavy. You do need one on the other side just to throw off your balance.
It's amazing.
My wife was impressed you walking in those heels down our stairs.
Yeah, the heels, the ring, it's a lot. But it's, and I'm so proud of the ring. I got to help design it, but I wanted it big because it becomes a conversation piece. Yeah. And then I get people to, and like, it's funny, in the airport yesterday, I was coming back from a UC Regent meeting, and the TSA, she was like, is that a Super Bowl ring? I was like, well, kind of.
Right.
Kind of. It's my Super Bowl ring. But it gets me to be able to start talking about the league. Yeah. But to your point, the teams are beginning to do it. The league is finally, I think, in a point comfortable with saying, we're okay with being a cause. It doesn't take away from the basketball. We can do both.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So you end up, I want to go back and then because we're getting into the league and your team here in a second too. But you fascinate me. So you end up you had some pretty good jobs before this too. So you were with NBC, Disney. Yeah. You worked in Irvin and Magic's company as well. Yeah. And so how do you end up, I doubt you saw yourself as a sports executive, right? I did. So take us through the journey. How do you end up becoming the president of, and arguably, one of the biggest franchises in sports, but also in your league, I think, in my opinion, maybe it's because I live here, the most well-known and successful one in your sport too. So how do you end up there?
It's business is business, right? And so whether it's the business of entertainment, whether it's the business of joint ventures and strategic alliances, as I worked in Irvin's offices doing those types of things, or the business of sports, I'm running a business. And so you look at each one, you analyze what the need is, where, and how you operate it most effectively, where the demand is, how do you create the demand, and you work to grow the business. So, there's always been this thread of advocacy in all that I do, and that's what aligned me so well with working for Irvin. So when I was at Disney and NBC Universal, my role was to increase spend with diverse business owners, whether they were women-owned businesses, minority-owned businesses, veteran-owned businesses, LGBT-owned businesses, because if we look at the pie of money that these corporations are spending, there's only 10% pretty much, that's the goal for all of those categories of businesses. Yeah. So the running joke is like, okay, so you're a straight white man who's able-bodied and never served in the military, and you're getting 90% of the money, right? Yeah. And so there's lots in there. It's not just a pie. There's tons of opportunity for everybody. But most importantly, you're missing out on innovation, right? If the same person is coming up with the same idea because they came up from the same place that you and I did, we're not going to, I'm going to have a different opportunity. I'm going to have a different lens. And so we're going to get there faster. We're going to get there better. We're going to have a different product. And you're leaving money on the table. So there's, it's the right thing to do, but we're talking dollars, right?
Wow.
It's dollars.
I like how you said that, a different lens. I've never heard someone say it to me that way. Let's talk about those couple things. So you end up, how has let's start with a woman first.
Yeah.
Being a woman. What are the unique things, all the ladies that are listening today, and the men listening to it who interact with women, because we do every single day, right? So how has being a woman, are there issues that I don't know about as I'm a male, I'm a white male too, I'm a straight white male. So is that something, do you carry that with you? Are you cognizant of it? Like, how's that operate in your mind?
I think each woman is going to be different, and each leader is different. I do carry it with me, because I know, and it's funny, I joke, I speak fluent chick and half fluent dude, so I can translate pretty well. But, I think that, because I may be the first in something, I am so aware of that, because I don't want to be the last. And it's bigger than me. Now, there are some women that just say, no, I'm just doing my job, I'm here, and that's great too. But for me, as a woman, and specifically as a woman of color, I know that the scrutiny is even more. They're just waiting. Unfortunately, the reality is they are waiting, and I don't get the mulligan. Right? I don't get the mulligan, or the woman behind me doesn't get that mulligan, because that will be taken into account. So I think that is something that I take with me. But there are strengths on both sides. I think we as women are a bit more detail oriented, right? We want to dot every I, we want to cross every T. We have an EQ that can be a little more softer, to your point. Although I've had to learn to tone down my intensity, because it was funny when you're you're not intimidating. I'm like, wow, well, there's some people that might disagree, but
why does a woman need to decide? Let's stay on that. This is where it's going to get cool. Because I want to ask you stuff that people are afraid to ask. Why should a woman have to dial it down or dial it up? But that is something a woman thinks about in business. You walk in a room, you're like, hey, because I'm a woman, or because I'm also a minority woman.
Every room, know your effect on a room. Now, that can be used in any business scenario. It's just a matter of what is that effect and why is it there, and why should they have to? No, we shouldn't have to think about that. The reality is that we do. And until we get to the point where we don't, then I can just think of it as just a business person. Until then, I do have to think of it as a businesswoman, as an African-American businesswoman, as sometimes the youngest in the room, although that's starting not to happen anymore. I'm like, I'll be 44 in December, so that's okay. I like it. I like the age.
I'm being really honest with you. I'm not, because I do all my research for the interviews. I'm not exaggerating when I tell you I'm dead. I thought you were about 15 years younger than that.
I'll take it.
No, I'm not kidding. Your presence is that of somebody probably beyond that age, obviously, but I honestly, that's what I thought.
Thank you.
I did. I thought you were around 29 or 30. Wow.
I'll pay you later for that.
No, it's a fact. I did. That's what I thought.
But no, and so you have to know your effect on a room. So when I am in a room where it's all men, then there is a different version of Christine that I'm going to bring to the table. When I'm in a room of all women, I want, especially with the women, we have to make sure I feel the need to make them feel as confident as I feel, as brilliant as I feel, as beautiful as I feel that day. And maybe I don't feel beautiful that day, but I want them to feel beautiful. How
do you do that? What's one way of doing
that? It's being present with them.
Yeah, you're excellent at that, by the way.
Well, I mean, you learn, right? And I'm learning about you and understanding you and who are you and what you're storing from that. I'm going to get another learning that I may not have gotten. And just when people feel like someone cares, then
I agree with you.
So
there's different versions.
There's different versions. If there's couples, you want to make sure, I want to make sure that I am paying my respect to your wife as I walk in this house. This is her home, and she is the woman that's, making you the man, and you're the man that makes her the woman. So how does that dynamic work? So, and I think everybody has different versions of themselves, depending on who they are, but it's still me.
It's still you. How do you do so here's some hard stuff. Because I hear these things often. I have in my company, I think we're probably 50% women or more, and I would guess, I'm guessing we're more than 50% minority in my company. I think, I don't know the exact stats, but how do you have that balance between, you said earlier, they're waiting for me to slip. So how do you have a balance between, sort of in the back of your mind, it's probably not some strategy they have. Let's catch her doing something. No. It's a bias or a lack of understanding or an unconscious thing that people have. I want you to talk to people that are in the minority community here for a second.
Yeah.
I'm wondering how you navigate the balance, and this is something no one ever asks people, knowing that that's probably a truth that you're going to deal with.
Yeah.
Yet, this is a hard question, but yet not being so obsessed or focused on it that perhaps you begin to create some potential scenarios that may not have existed if you weren't in that. That's a really difficult thing, I would imagine.
It is, because I think really what it is bring your best work to the table, right? Bring your A game.
Yeah.
Right? If you're bringing your A game, and then we know as just overachievers that want to max out on everything, then you're going to over prepare.
Yeah.
Regardless of your background, you're going to over prepare. You're going to over research. You're going to. Irvin used to be like, you're prepared. You got it. Like he used to joke about how much, because I always want to. I may not always be the smartest person in the room, but no one's going to outwork me.
Yeah.
Right. So if I'm doing that and I'm bringing my best game to the table, then I can just be confident, and I know I let it all out on the table, and I can be aware and know that I can't do a half-assed job.
Yeah.
Right? So if you're just aware that you cannot do a half-assed job, you can't coast. But then again, you quickly become the person who doesn't want to anyway.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
And then that just breeds winners regardless.
Really good. That's really, really good, because some of the business people I coach, obviously, are minority business people, and I tell them about those opportunities that come along. I know for sure this, you're going to have fewer.
Yeah.
So you better take advantage of the ones that come your way. Any other dynamics you would say, if you're giving advice to somebody right now who's in the business community, let's just go all the way.
Yeah.
I was watching an interview yesterday with Serena Williams.
Yeah.
And she recently had that issue at the US Open that you saw where she was upset with the official.
Yeah.
I thought the official overreached in how he penalized her. Some people thought that her behavior was totally inappropriate. The first time I heard Serena talk about it, I was interested because she said, I don't get the same leeway, if you will, as a man would being a woman.
Yeah.
That's the first thing she said. She said that several times. The interview I saw yesterday, she took it a step further. And she said, I don't get the same leeway as a woman, and I really don't get the same leeway as an African-American woman in that regard, too.
Yeah.
If you were speaking to the women that are listening to this, that are Asian Americans, African Americans, Latino Americans, whatever it might be, what advice would you give them for navigating that landscape?
I think it's a matter of building allies. You have to build allies, both in your communities and in these intersectionalities that we have, right? I mean, we're talking gender, we're talking ethnic background, we could be talking sexuality, we could be talking socioeconomic level, right? But wherever that is, so build those allies there so you have a safe space to help figure out these problems and people that understand them. There's going to be things that we can help navigate, because I've been there, and kind of help you through and translate, right? Because if I'm going to be the only chick in the room of all these dudes, and I'm the one at the cigar club all the time, like I can translate. I'm like, okay, ladies, this is what's happened. This is what they meant. Let me translate. And then they're like, oh, okay, got it. And same thing with the dudes. I'm like, this is what she said, and this is why she said it, and this is because she was feeling this. You know what I mean? So build those allies within your community, but within also externally as well, outside of your communities, and also externally from the company too.
Okay.
You want to have just as many allies inside as you do outside.
Great point.
You want to make sure that people outside understand your work. We as women tend not to brag about what we do.
That's true.
We don't.
Yeah.
We're not going to be like, oh, look what I did, look what I did.
It's true.
Right? We expect if I put in the work that you're going to recognize it.
Are you cognizant of being great at relating? I know the different versions of you, but I've already observed you. So you're great at interacting. People that we both know have told me this, and then you're great at interacting with men. You're great at interacting with women. You're good at, so is that something you're very conscious of? Is almost I guess knowing who you're with when you communicate. 'Cause really everything to me is sales. And to some extent, you're selling yourself. You're selling them on taking a particular action. You're selling the franchise.
Yeah.
So are you cognizant of that version, but also just meeting them where they are, I guess is the way I'd say
I think it's the meeting them where they are. Because it's funny, one of my dear friends and mentors was like, I was telling him, I don't like sales. but I've been in business development roles like most of my career, right? But I hate sales. And he was like, what are you talking about? You're selling all the time, to your point. And so when I can be authentic and when I can speak passionately about something, and then meet someone where they are and understand who they are and what their goal is, then I can relate. Then I got, okay, now I got it. Okay, but like if I don't know you, I don't do my research on you, I'm not passionate about what we're talking about, and I don't think it's going to be a win-win for either of us. If I've researched and I'm like, you know, this isn't even a good deal for you, let's not, then I cannot do that. So yeah, that is one of, see, uncomfortable, that's one of my strengths.
It is, and you got uncomfortable saying it was one of your strengths. You did it earlier too. The other thing you do is, and I know this isn't a Magic Johnson thing, but you both seem to do it a lot, you smile a lot. No, I'm serious.
How did you not smile? Look at this gorgeous view on a Friday afternoon with great people.
Is that because you're here, or is that something you do a lot? I'm serious. Is that something you do?
I do a lot.
Okay, and I think that may seem like a really small thing. But for people listening to this, like I have some deficiencies too. They're different than obviously what you would deal with. My deficiencies are, I have a look about me that's really intense. I've got this really deep voice. I would consider myself to be an acquired taste, unless you know me, right? After a while, you're like, oh, he actually is a decent person. You know?
And your build is so like waif-like, and I mean, so meek. That's not intimidating at all.
But so one of the things that some of my mentors told me earlier that I forget often, this may seem like a really basic thing, but like, dude, smile. Like smile, like tell your face you're excited to be here. And that's like a really small thing. That's what right when I met you, I'm like, hi. I'm like, why am I smiling so much? Because she's smiling so much.
It just changes everything.
I'm dead serious.
It does. You know, it's funny. Like there used to be times, and of course, you know, in your boss, when you're with bosses, there's sometimes you don't see eye to eye, and Irvin would have been in a bad mood, and I was like, you know what? And most people, because he can, when we're intense and we're bosses and we have to make big decisions, and you know, you're not happy about it. And a lot of other, you know, peers and colleagues would go in and they're like, oh, he's in a bad mood. Every time I go in, same way. Hey, Irvin. Hey, sir. Nope. Bring it in. Okay. I know. We got to talk about this. And then everybody just like
changes.
I mean, why not?
By the way, for the video people, you're all seeing this. Like she lights the room up. What have you learned from working with Magic Johnson?
Oh, never stop learning. Never stop pushing.
What's a skill he has that most people would not know about behind the scenes? Something.
Oh, behind the scenes.
Good question, huh?
I mean, because he shares a lot about his process, but the discipline, like he works out every morning still to this day, 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. Just the discipline with which he researches everything that he's doing and gets his key people to provide that information. He dives deep, you know, in the beginning and just really make sure that he understands that deal, and just is just really intense in his preparation and his studying of it. Yeah, he is. He is.
Are you, he's a mentor then?
He is, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, kind of still a boss too.
Still boss.
Still
boss.
One of my bosses.
I mean, obviously, you know, those of you, Magic's speaking to my company in a few weeks, and one of the reasons I asked him to come in was because I don't care if you add math, just the math, he's one of the most successful men in the country.
He is.
And so you're getting mentored to been up close to one of the most successful men in the country. And the thing is that I love about him is he's relentless. In other words, you can't buy his will to win. You couldn't buy him with championships. You couldn't buy his will to win when he got sick. You couldn't buy his will to win with a bunch of money. You can't buy his will to win with accolades. The Dodgers, the Sparks, the Lakers. It's like he just keeps going. He's relentless, and I admire that. So let's talk about the job for a minute. Because this is a big job, and your partner, I guess I call her your partner, the CEO of the team, is also an African-American woman, correct?
The GM, yes.
The GM, correct? And so she handles more of the player stuff.
She's everything on the court. She's EVP and GM, and then I'm everything off the court, all business operations.
And her name is?
Penny Toller.
Okay.
And not only is she a basketball genius as it relates to putting a team together, she was the first woman to ever score a basket when the league started as a Spark. So talk about legacy. Like, really? She's phenomenal.
So that's awesome. So the two of you are sort of the duo on both sides of the operation here. And so your job is to grow the brand to some extent, correct? So let's talk about some of the things you did, because this applies to all other businesses. We talked a little bit on it as well, but one of the things you focused on is women's empowerment too. So that's actually on the other side of your ring, on the inside of that thing, is the logo.
It's our We Are Women logo.
That is so cool. And so tell us about that a little bit.
So it's a funny story. So go back to Irvin's will to win and the people he hires. So a gentleman whom I also report to, our columnies are in our board of governors. First season I was an executive on loan, and so I was just kind of helping out. And then I guess I did an okay job getting the job.
There you go again.
Congratulations, you got the job. Now go break an attendance record. I was like, oh, I just got the job. Like, are you kidding me? Like, we barely have an office. We were working the first season out of Irvin's conference room.
Okay.
The entire organization. But anyway, so we knew it had to be bigger than basketball. And so a woman on my team at the time, she and I just kept putting our heads together. And right around that time, there was some instances of domestic violence in sports. That was when a lot of it started to happen.
Okay.
And so we were like, okay, let's really just kind of just bring it around women's empowerment in general. But not just around sports. You know, there was some fantastic things that women are doing in the greater LA area that we can highlight along the way. But really it came down to economic empowerment and the power of a woman's dollar, right? And the power of products and services and a league geared and powered by women.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So how do I fill Staples Center? Not just because I'm giving out tickets for free. No, I want people to pay the dollar, the $10 whole that it takes to get a nosebleed seat.
Does everybody hear that, by the way? It's such a great value, this league.
Ridiculous.
All the seats are. But go ahead.
They are. Like, we're really, like, you can take a family of 4 in the hundreds in the lower bowl and still eat.
And see some amazing flipping athletes, everybody.
Ridiculous.
Like amazing, ridiculous athletes.
Every guy's like, dang, these girls can ball. Like,
well, here's the thing for me, not to interrupt you, but I gotta tell you, I actually think the brand of basketball is more interesting because it's not just like ISO ball. And I don't mean they're critical of the NBA. I love the NBA.
Yeah, it's exciting.
These ladies share the basketball.
They do.
They can shoot. They can score. Their handles are unbelievable.
The defense is like, it's fundamental basketball at its best.
That's exactly right.
Team ball.
That's exactly. It's such a great brand of basketball. In fact, if you have a young person who wants to learn to play basketball, I would argue watching the WNBA fundamentally would be the better league for them to be studying up close.
Agree. So many of our coaches bring their teams for that reason, boys and girls.
Okay.
So back to We Are Women. So we created the We Are Women campaign. We launch it every year, and the goal is to sell at Staples Center, but it's also to highlight the great work that women are doing in the community. One woman, she, in fact, English was her second language, but she served the seniors in her community and would go and provide meals for them in Maywood. And so she was nominated. So we got to go and tell the story of the work that she's doing. So there were all of these different pieces that women are doing in the community that are just lifting all of us up.
Wow.
And so we get to tell their stories and celebrate them on court. And then we do a Woman of the Year. And then last year we did a Man of the Year because it's important. It's not just about empowering women. It's also about enlightening men as to what women can do too.
Empowering women, enlightening men. Hopefully that's what we're doing today.
Yeah, exactly.
That's hopefully what we're doing today. And so, you know, by the way, what you've really done is you just expanded what the brand is. And everybody listens that has any business. I don't care if you're a trainer in a gym, you own a dry cleaners. These same business principles apply to you too. How can you get more involved in the community? How can you expand the brand? How can you begin to affect people in ways that seem not directed to profit, but inevitably do drive profit?
It is my go-to-market strategy. I am gaining market share. Period. So the time and money and resources spent on converting a hardcore NBA fan versus the time and money to create new Sparks fans. I don't have to create a basketball fan, but I can create a Sparks fan. So a woman who may not, or even a man who may not necessarily be a fan of basketball, can come and enjoy themselves and have a fantastic experience. And now they're a Sparks fan, right? That mom, like me, is if I have to watch Pokemon one more time, I'm gonna lose my mind. But me and my son can have a great time at the game, right? Socially conscious millennials who want a deeper reason for the money they're spending while they're looking really, really cool courtside, right? Those are the folks I'm focused on. So we've increased market share. We're leading the league in ticket sales. We're leading the league in attendance.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's brilliant. And it's like one of the reasons I wanted to have you on here was this point right here. I think that compared to the other teams I know in the league, and I know we're not doing that, you can't speak to this, you've expanded what the brand is and what it means to people. And that's not easy to do when something is new. Even though the league's been around a while, it's not like the Lakers brand that's been around forever. So what's the hardest part of your job?
There's lots. I think when you still run into those that you have to sell on what women can do. and what they should be doing. And like right now there's a big debate about lowering the rim so women can dunk better or whatever.
Oh, is there?
Yeah,
okay.
And it's really the fan who doesn't really understand our game, right? We talked about it being more elegant, it's a different style of basketball, and it's phenomenal.
Yes.
We don't have to lower the rim to appease you. We're not trying to be the female NBA. That's not who we are, who we want to be. Yeah. We have our own sport. We have our own game. It's globally recognized.
Yeah.
You'll be okay.
What's the best part of your job?
The impact. The young girl who now knows that she could either be a professional athlete on the biggest stage in the biggest city, she could run a team, hell, she could own a team if she wanted to. And because I didn't have that, I didn't know that, right? So as you talk about going back to your childhood and how those pieces, like just that one conversation I may have with that one young lady who said, wow, I didn't know that this was a job, or that women could do that, or whatever. And then the other part is being able to see these women live out their dreams, these beautiful humans that they are, these complex global athletes. They are MVPs, they are champions, they are Olympians, they are all of this, and they're still having to fight to live their dream here domestically. And they're at the top of their game. And so when we won this championship, it was the first time that anyone on the team had won, but for Penny. She was the only one. She has 2 previously, so now she has 3. And to be able to see the players and the exuberance and just that, I still get goosebumps.
You can see it on your face.
It's a joy.
The stories of these ladies is it's remarkable. I feel like the league itself and your team, particularly if it was a stock, it's a buy.
Yeah.
I just feel like there's this major growth that can come to the league, that can come to people as they become more aware of, and I think part of it is the stories of the ladies as well.
Yeah.
And I wanted you here today for something that you just said too. There's somebody watching this, there's a young woman somewhere who is seeing someone who looks like her, who's achieving. One of the great things about social media, and what could be one of the great things in society today, if we could finally find a way to come together as a society, is to begin to show the diversity of all the people that are winning, that all the people are successful. I pray for a day that when my granddaughter's coming up, that it's a foregone conclusion in people's minds that that's the case. And so you're very humble about it, but you're pioneering a path that's really of this generation, one of the first people doing it, right? Hopefully someday that'll be different. But one of the other paths that you navigate, I want to ask you about, this has been so good, by the way, because we've covered so many good things. But one of the other things that you do is you're balancing being a single mother and an executive and being busy. How do you do that? And is there a typical day, and like give an idea? So people go, well, I want to be the president of a big organization, or I want to run something. Do you?
Yeah.
Because this is what the schedule will look like. This is what you'll be doing every single day. So give someone a flavor, because the glamour is I'm the president. The glamour is I have this ring. I have this influence. I get to work with magic. I have this incredible prestige and title, all this influence, all that. And then there's like the stuff.
The grind,
right? So what's that look like? What's the grind look like?
You know, and it's funny because you have to, I think, highly competitive people and those who have achieved some success aren't in love with the glamour. They're in love with the grind, right?
So
and I think it's like, you know, I love crunching out, like creating that new partnership deck where I'm going to come and I'm going to be like, okay, this is why we need to partner together, because I'm going to create this and a custom thing for that, and we're going to activate this, and we're going to end that part. So I am literally the one putting together, coming up. I have a fantastic team as well, but we create these opportunities for a holistic partnership that touch every aspect of our department. So whether, you know, your name is in lights and Staples Center for your company, whether your employees are coming as ticket holders, whether we're activating in the community, whether we're doing something on social, whether we have a player representing your organization, all of those ideas have to come. So we have to come in and create those. Then you got to create the deck to be able to, you know, sell that. Then you got to go to the meeting and sell it. And then I got to, you know, come and do fantastic interviews so I can spread the word. And then, you know, and then there's the audits and the payroll so, you know, I am the president, but operating officer means I've literally been doing budgets and payroll, and we finished an audit, going to start another one, and all of that kind of stuff. So it is a grind, but again, I love it.
You do?
I do. I love it.
So are you a wake up early person? Are you a routine person?
I'm a stay up really late person.
Okay.
And then I get up somewhat early.
You do? How much sleep do you get?
about 4 hours.
What?
Yeah.
Okay. So you just said it like it's normal. Just
That's
so
not.
You know.
That's not.
Well,
No.
for you and I, it is.
Okay. All right.
I wrote this in my book, as a matter of fact,
Yeah.
and I have this theory that we probably both should get more sleep. But,
yes.
But I do have this theory that it is the quality of the sleep you get beyond just the time.
Agreed.
But there's a line there. But did you just hear what she just? It's so mega achievers. People on my show, it's like they take for granted how kind of psycho they are sometimes.
Yeah.
So like,
I'm
like, how much you sleep? 4 hours. What? Like,
it's everybody does it?
No, not everybody does that,
I'm
right?
Joking. No, I know. I do hibernate though. Like I'll go 2 or 3 days every now and then. I'm like, nope, I'm not getting out of bed.
Yeah.
I'm not. You know what? I might brush my teeth if you're lucky. I might. You know. So I know when I gotta shut it down.
Yeah.
I know when I gotta shut it down.
Okay. But let's just be real here.
Yeah.
You don't get where you are by hoping and dreaming these things. You can hope and dream them, but you've just flat out busted your tail. And let's just be real, everybody, okay? That's the schedule you heard about. Plus, she's a mother,
yes.
Right? And listen to me on this. If you are in one of these categories we're describing, you're going to have to even do more of this than everybody else. It's another level, right? So accept it. It's a fact. You need to hear this message. All of the things you've achieved, this is where it gets really good for me, because it's like, well, what really separates you? Yeah. Okay, it's obviously you're brilliant, you're an unbelievable communicator. For someone who doesn't like sales, you said the word sell 4 times in that last sentence. I'll go back and play it, but I think it was 4, plus present.
It could be like a drinking game.
Right, that's selling. So you definitely are selling. The interview is selling too.
Yeah.
But it's like the schedule's freaky though,
It's
right?
freaky, it's intense. And I think it's a matter too, and to your point about me being a mom, I had to rethink how I'm a mom. When I first started this, I was ashamed that I had to bring him with me from time to time. And I serve on a number of boards as well. I was president of the UCLA Alumni Association, so I represented all 500,000 Bruins that ever graduated from UCLA. I just finished that term, but while I'm still on that board, I'm now a regent designate for the UC Regents. So the UC Regents is the governing board of all 10 of the UC campuses.
Gosh.
And then I'll be a voting regent next year. I do charity work. But I bring him with me. And now he's learning presence. He's learning authority. He's learning he belongs, right? Yeah. I am still convincing myself, and we're being real, that I belong. There's still times in my mind where I have imposter syndrome and all that other kind of stuff, and you know, and you got to remember, no, you belong, girl. You earned this. Like you got this.
I'm glad you said that.
But it's real, and because society tells you otherwise a lot of times, and people are quick to point out the failures, and I've recently adapted to that and said, you know what, I may have failed a task, but that does not make me a failure.
Oh, God.
It does not. That's a task, and maybe I didn't meet that goal, and you better believe I'm going to meet it next time. Doesn't make me a failure. I'm still pretty awesome.
Oh, that was so good.
You have to believe that.
So good. Oh, because you just said something. No one's used that phrase on my show before either, too. But I suffer from it sometimes. So know what you mean? You said imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
There's this part of, I think, a lot of us, as we're doing well or we're winning, especially those of you that are starting to achieve.
Yeah.
You actually think it's a fluke.
Yeah.
Or they don't really know who you really are.
Yeah.
And the fact is, I just gave this talk to where I went to college. I went to University Pacific. I played baseball there, and I said, I wish I could have gone back there, and someone would have told me, "Hey, you're really good.
Yeah.
You're special. You're awesome." I just, because I didn't know it. To this day, I'm 47, life's gone pretty good. I still, once in a while, get that imposter syndrome. I'll be driving to a speech, and for some reason, that one, I'm like, why do they want to hear from me?
I swear to God. Wait, that happened on the way here today. I was like, that's not really, did he really want me? I don't know. Somebody talked him into it, I don't know.
I'm 100% sure. So, by the way, not only she's not only not an imposter, not only does she belong, but she's achieving. She's part of the 2018 Ebony Power List. So you're on that list with Steph Curry and Venus Williams, and so like this is so awesome, right? Like, and tell them what category you're in too. This is pretty cool.
It's crazy. It's the MVP category, and they're mostly athletes. And I was like, what? This is insane. Like, typically I'm in the women category because I'm in a women's business, and okay, fine, that's cool. I'm just, if that helps me get the word out, then that's fantastic. And really, I'm beyond, you see I'm stuttering, right? I'm a very good presenter until I'm talking about me.
It's true.
I am so humbled at this, and it really is a testament to the Sparks organization, our ownership group, to their commitment to making sure that we have a platform. And now it's being nationally recognized on a number of different, in different ways. And so
it's a testament to you. So you do this, what you said earlier, you said all women do, but you deflect achievement, you deflect a compliment, you deflect your unbelievable impact you're making, and so it is a reflection on them. It's a reflection on you.
Thank you.
They named you, right? And so it's unreal that you've done it. And speaking of that, we only have a few more minutes left. I'm enjoying this so much.
We're here all day.
Right? No, I wish we were, because there is so much that you do unconsciously well that I'd like to bring out of you. So I'm going to make you do this for a second.
Okay.
So let's take, right now, is there a player on the Sparks? I think I know who you would say, and I know you don't have a favorite player.
Sure.
But who is sort of the go-to scorer on the team right now?
We have a few, and because it's a team, right? It's team ball, right? So you have Candace Parker, who's a very versatile player. You have Nneka Ogwumike, who's she's like a female James Worthy, right? She's a slicer, but with ridiculous efficiency, right? You have Chelsea Gray that can create a shot out of, when you think there's no play left, Chelsea Gray creates that shot, and then you have Elena Beard, who was Defensive Player of the Year. So you can't pick a player because we play team ball on purpose. So we have to move that ball around. It just depends on the play and the.
So let's take those 4 particular players, and we're going to put 6 people in a room.
Okay.
Magic Johnson.
Okay.
You. Yeah. And the 4 players. Okay. What do you have in common? So you're all mega achievers. What are some of the common traits amongst these people?
Drive, competitiveness. Everybody wants to, and not against each other. Just, true story. We'll rewind a little. Championship. So me, Penny, Irvin, we're on the floor, won the championship. It was insane. Minnesota Lynx had been dominant for quite some time. We dethroned them. Everybody's going crazy. It's in Minnesota. And we won, we're on the floor. We hadn't even got the trophy yet. Irvin's looks at me and Penny, you ready to do it again next year?
Right away.
Right away, immediately. And I was like, dang, can I get some champagne in my hair first? No, okay. And then we paused and we were like, let's do it, let's do it. And we got to the finals, but we didn't win. Game 5, we have a series of 5, and so so it's that competitiveness, that drive, that, how can I beat myself? Okay, what can I learn today? What's the new thing I can do today? And no one will outwork me. All of us are workhorses.
I love that.
Yeah.
That is, by the way, if I were asked that question, that would be my answer. My answer would be some freakish drive.
Yeah.
And which I put competitiveness all in there, and then you just outwork everybody.
Yeah.
And that is the common line of the guests on my show that have maxed out. It's the common guest of the people that have mentored me. I always say, I think in businesses, you definitely, obviously the ideas you've created, even to expand the brand of the team, they're brilliant. So you've used your head to do that. But what has separated you is your heart. And you win at the end of the day. You have to have the right strategies in business, but you win with your heart and not your head. Ultimately, it's just outworking everybody. It's your drive. It's your ambition. I think you're amazing. So let's talk about the team just for a second in the league, just so everybody. I want people to go see the team.
Yes.
And by the way, so there's a lot of you listeners that are in Southern California, and if you're not, you're in other parts of the country. Go find out where your local team is, and go see these incredible athletes play. And if you're around the world, just become engaged in this product, because I think, like all brands, this could become a global brand. I'm just going to tell you right now. So why should somebody? It's inexpensive. Yeah. And the athletes are incredible. Right. Give me one more reason why somebody should come see a WNBA game, particularly maybe the Sparks.
The Sparks are unique. It's a party. It's a different sporting environment. We have a DJ. We bring in, it's LA, right? Yeah. So we bring in entertainment on timeouts. We have magic moments. We have people performing. So you have ridiculously amazing basketball, right? It's affordable. It's family friendly, but it's still fun, and literally people have the greatest time when they come.
Yeah, you really believe this.
I do.
Yeah, you really do.
I do.
And what I love about it is, as just a sports fan, is I'll just tell you it's straightforward. And not everybody listening to this is a sports fan. Yeah. I just think the quality of the sport's unbelievable. I just really do.
Thank you.
Okay, so I go all the way back.
Okay.
You were 9 when your mom and dad split? 7. Okay. Yeah. So you're 7 years old. And so I'll go back to that little girl. I just think it's fascinating, just for a second, just to have some perspective, because you're in the middle of doing what you do. Yeah. But if you went back to that little girl at that time, there had to be some sense of turmoil going on in your life. All of a sudden, your daddy's not in the house, and Your mom's now got these 4 girls she's raising. And I'm just picturing this beautiful girl kind of going through her life and just thinking, man, if I could go back there and tell her, do you know how amazing your life's going to be?
Yeah.
You know? And there's a lot of people listening to this. So I'm proud of you, by the way.
Thank you.
I'm really happy for you,
that
too.
That means a lot.
And, but there's millions of people listening to this who, they're at a point in their life, they're like, look, man, not everything in my road's been perfect either. I don't come from the perfect family. I don't either, by the way. But I come from a perfect family. Everything in my life right now isn't perfect.
Right.
You know, I've made some mistakes. I've had a relationship that didn't work out. My business didn't work out. Maybe I didn't get my degree. Maybe I got my degree and I thought that was going to change everything, and I don't have my dream job. And so I get a chance to sit down with Christine Simmons for a cup of coffee for just a couple minutes, and I get to ask her, what would your advice be to me to transform my life, to change my life? What would be the things you would tell that person if they could ask you?
Be relentless about reinventing yourself, and know that you have the power already. No one has to give it to you. I think women, we suffer from that a bit more because we've been put in our place for so long. And so giving someone an opportunity is phenomenal, and we're grateful for every opportunity that you give us. And then watch us work, which is actually one of the taglines for the Wnba. But but it's true. Watch us work. Watch what I'll do. You give me the opportunity, watch what I'll do. So, and adversity makes you better. When I have a candidate who comes in and I'm looking to bring someone on, I need a creative solutioner, right? I need someone who's going to figure it out. I need someone who's got thick skin, right? So as you achieve, and for those of you, again, back to the glamour versus the grind, it's not easy, and it's your circle gets way smaller, right? And there's more scrutiny, and there's more challenges, and there's all of these things that but yet you have to be unseen. Hey, no, I didn't have a horrible day yesterday. You know what I mean? Like, and so those are the things that, but it makes you better. And turn that, it's energy. Like I feel like, you know, it's energy, and you have to, and it's hard when you're constantly being kicked. How do you turn that energy? It's almost like Black Panther when his suit kept hitting, like they get bullets, it hit his bullet, and then that kinetic energy would build up and it would just, wow, right? So now I'm at the point where I'm like, oh, tell me no. Well, careful what you do when you tell me no, because now I'm gonna come back with a force, because, and you have your moment, don't get me wrong, you have your moments where you're disappointed, or you're like, why did this happen again, or why did this not happen again? Get that. Have your safe space. Now let's move on. Let's go. How are we gonna change it? You have to move forward. Constant forward movement, relentless. I use that word, relentless. All my emails, it says a relentless drive for excellence.
Does it really?
Yes, relentless. And people are gonna call you crazy. People are gonna agree, they're not gonna understand. They're gonna think that you're a raving bee, or, you know, and too intense. And so you figure out the nuances of it, but stay relentless, keep reinventing yourself, and change the energy.
Oh my gosh, that's good. Because I do think, like, I just think energy is influence, and I think it's infectious too. And that's the thing about you, like, immediately, I'm talking about like within 2 seconds, your energy it's beautiful, it's attractive, right? It's connecting. And so, and it is difficult to bring that energy when the world is kicking you, but you're absolutely right. You've got to turn that energy around. You've got to get up. You've got to be relentless. I love what you talked about, reinventing yourself too. That version of you right now is producing the results you're getting. You've got to reinvent and get better. I think you are incredible.
Oh, feeling is so mutual. So intense we are.
I'm serious.
No, really. Like you have been such a joy. Like this is amazing.
Thank you. So today was wonderful. It's so good. I already kind of know they're going to be like, would you bring her back and do just like these business questions?
I'd love it.
But I'm so impressed, and thank you for being you. Thank you for breaking down some of these barriers. Thank you for doing this today, because I promise you, I know the impact this conversation's had on so many people, and I can't wait to hear about it. How do people find you though? Like, we want to help you grow your social media and grow the Sparks too. So how can they best find you?
So Sparks is LA_Sparks on all platforms. Unapologetically_Christine is on Instagram. CN Simmons on Twitter.
Okay, so we need to go. You need to be connected with this woman because I feel like you. I think you probably feel like I do. I want to watch even what the future holds for you too.
Thank you.
And it was really an honor to do this with you today. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
I enjoyed it
Thank you
so much. Hey everybody, we did it again. I brought you out somebody who's maxing out their life, and her information today is really going to help so many of you max out your life as well. I hope you enjoyed the program. Spread the word. We're the #1 growing program in the world, but more people need to know about this. You're following me on Instagram at Mylett. Every day I do the 2-minute drill. So when I make a post, every day on my main feed, first 2 minutes, everybody makes a comment, you're in a drawing. You get coaching calls with my guests, me, gear, books, all kinds of stuff you get from doing that. And if you miss the first 2 minutes, just comment every day. We pick a winner at the end of the week who commented every day. So please do that. God bless you and max out. Hey guys, thanks for sticking around. If you'd like more, click the videos right here. They're exactly what you need to see next. And if you're new here, hit subscribe and become a part of the Max Out community. And tell me what you think about the videos in the comments below. I read all of them every week, and I select winners that get all kinds of prizes, gear, coaching calls with me. Make a comment.